Hello everyone and welcome to the very final video of DNA where we enter the excavation site. This place is a bit of a maze, though still nothing compared to the original laboratory we found ourselves in. We have to use the climb biochip ability to get up some walls, as you just saw. We're going to be doing that a few times. So let's cover what we've got so far. We were born. We have no memory. We were created by a crazy doctor guy with yellow eyeballs and someone whose name is unironically Greed. The stone we had was somehow related to their experiments, which means they probably dug up the stone down here somewhere. But we still have absolutely no clue at all what the stone is actually for. It might have led to the experiment that created us, and whatever happened to Alyssa. Which we're never going to hear about Alyssa again, by the way, so I hope you were satisfied with how that plot point ended. And now we're in this excavation site, which is equal parts inhabited by some goons that seem to be under Greed's command, and these weird floating blimp monsters. These weird floating blimp monsters, by the way, are our key to success. By destroying them, we get medium health recoveries, which is almost as good as a full health recovery, just barely not. Not all of them drop these medium health recoveries, but enough do that you're going to want to grind them if you don't have at least 6 by the time you fight the final boss. I'm sure if you memorize the bosses well enough, save for a couple, you could probably make it through without grinding for items at all. Here's another area where we have to use the climb ability we got. Oops. Looks like we're not going to make it. But this is a good opportunity to show off that flamethrower in a context where it might actually hurt something. I'm going to make an effort to show off a few of the items in this level, because why not? It's the final one and you barely got to see them at all. The flamethrower is probably the most useless of all the projectile weapons. It ostensibly hurts enemies on the same level as you, which there aren't many of them, but it doesn't deal very much damage either. And it's, well, incredibly difficult to aim properly. So let's not bother with that anymore. I do think it's a little bit cruel that if you miss the biochip file for the climb skill, that you simply wouldn't be able to progress any further. But there's a lot of cruel things like that in this game. One of my chief concerns when I actually bought this game and started playing it was whether I'd be able to finish it to see the ending. Sheer tenacity can get you pretty far, it turns out, especially where puzzle solving is concerned. Just check every door. After we make it up here, we're nearly to the second half of the excavation site, which is, I don't know about the bigger half, but it's the half you're going to be spending more time on. And it's actually the last area of the game. I guess if there's a blessing in the somewhat cruel puzzle design and progression of DNA, especially since there's, no walkthrough for it, it's that the second level in the laboratory will more than prepare you for everything to come. I can't hit shit with this flamethrower. It might help slightly if I didn't use it on a slant, but I can use my bombs just fine on a slant, so what's the point? These bugs are the worst, they will poison you. Just jump over them. The second half of the excavation site consists of these indoorsy cave areas and then some outdoor areas with a ton of bugs, and that's it. It alternates between the two, and then you reach the boss eventually. There is one notable departure from this. We got some new biochip files and a Japanese sword, which I'm pretty sure has its own name. I feel like those kinds of swords have names. It's not just a Japanese sword. But let's take a look at that biochip file, shall we? And we'll go ahead and equip the sword, because it is very powerful even though it has no durability whatsoever. Which means, it's not very useful. The biochip file we got was for the floor bomb, which we could have made at any point after we got the 2 ranged chips. It would have been very useful against those little drones that the giant crawler boss dropped. But at the same time, it's better just to avoid those. These fire mummies, when they walk into water, die instantly. Our bombs do nothing to damage them, but they don't appear very often, and you can usually just run straight around them. I haven't tried to hit them with the sword, because if it doesn't work, that would seem like a waste. This is the first time you'll see one of the blimp creatures drop a medium health recovery. They tend to do that a lot, and we're going to use our sword up against this red ninja fellow. 2 hits from the sword will destroy almost anything. So it's a shame that you can only use it against about 3 enemies before it breaks. And that slot could be used for another health recovery item instead of a weapon, so yeah, it's pretty useless. But hey, it kills things, and I showed you that it killed things. I feel satisfied. Again, these bugs poison you, just jump right over them. It helps if you have a jump chip equipped. So there are 2 more floors of almost exactly this, with a very similar layout and very similar corridors. The only thing that changes is the enemies in the room, and one notable difference. So I'm going to go ahead, and after we use the elevator, we're going to skip to something that resembles forward progress, alright? Not that I'm ragging on the final stage, it's meant to be some kind of endurance gauntlet, and it mostly succeeds at that. So this room contains 2 things. It contains another red ninja enemy, which we need to dispose of before we can use the puzzle. And it contains a puzzle to blow up some boxes on the floor below. Now, in order to get to that floor, we have to actually go up a floor and then take a special stairway, let's call it, down another floor. But for now, let's focus on the puzzle. We need to get our bomb past both of these fans, which requires some very precise timing. I count exactly 5 seconds after the first fan stops moving. That usually seems to do the trick. Now let's go up a floor and then find that special staircase. Hey, this caution sign looks pretty special to me. This is how we get down to that floor, and if we're careful with our descent, we can pick up 2 more biochips. We're not going to use them though, because they're not very helpful for the upcoming boss battle. You might recognize this room from what, a few seconds ago? Now we're down on the bottom half of it. Before we couldn't push these 2 boxes because there were other boxes in the way, but now that they're blowed up, we can proceed. And now we're actually only a few measly rooms away from the final confrontation with Greed. Both the villain and the concept I assume he's named after. You can't fool me by changing one of the E's to an A. I know what it means. I mean, he even killed his head scientist over it. You know, it being some kind of apparently ominous power, which that always goes well. So you might have missed our transition from wondering about our past to becoming a hero. I'm sure a lot of people missed it. I sure missed it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there, it just might have not been stated. I wonder if this was considered as magnum opus material when it was being made. I don't mean to mock the game or anything, because, you know, it's a good game and I enjoy it. But you always wonder what people are thinking when they develop something. And this is a very odd game, so there's no doubt the people who made it wanted to make it. There probably wasn't that much corporate interference. Alright, now's my final chance to show you guys our character's goofy-ass karate moves.
A zombie? Is he dead?
No, he's just in a state of suspended animation.
Greed!
Reinserting the core will bring him back alive. and then his power shall be mine. So, give me the power. Power greater than any in the universe. What?
Well, looks like it was all for nothing in the end. Must not have been a complete core, I guess.
I'm not done yet. I'm not going to give up now.
Welcome to Greed 2.0, who isn't that difficult unless he decides to use his sword on you. Then he's difficult. The attacks you want him to use are that laser, which is very easy to dodge, that swipe of explosions, that one, and that part where he shoots out homing blasts, that's not so bad either, but his sword is trouble. It deals a lot of damage and is very difficult to dodge. We're going to change our loadout. Better suited to boss battles. Now, before you can actually deal damage to Greed himself, you have to bomb him 4 times. Then his core will be exposed, and you can bomb that. And you have to bomb his core a whopping 7 times before he goes down for good. That's 35 hits in total. It's not that big a deal if he uses this laser, though, where you can get 3 hits in if you're lucky. Just watch out for the sword. And he decides what moves he uses randomly, so it's not like I can help you. And I can't prove that staying further away makes him more likely to use the laser or bomb swipe, but I would go for it because that seems to be how it works for me. Just don't take it as absolute fact.
So this is the end of the line, but I'm taking you and this whole site with me.
What did you just do?
I detonated the bomb I planted down here. It's all going to come crashing down. Everything will disappear into darkness.
You just lost your bet. The vision of darkness, a weapon of evil. Less than a man, not quite a machine. The ultimate warrior. The master plan in a madman's scheme. Can it be real or is it all a dream? Mental flashbacks to a space and time where love was the only game. But now it's time for me to concentrate, not the time for me to be soft. Got to keep my mind focused or my battle here will be lost. I've got words of mass destruction, created in my mind as well. I've got words of mass destruction, designed to maim and kill. How much longer must I wait? The poison is burning my throat. How many battles must be fought before I reach the antidote? DNA's on the set, you just lost your bet. It's only become with fear. The vision of darkness, a weapon of evil. The time is coming, the end is near. Less than a man, not quite a machine. The ultimate warrior. The master plan in a madman's scheme. Can it be real or is it all just a dream?
So a dummy is just a dummy. A full resurrection was asking too much, huh? But I did manage to get just about all the data I need.